is NDTV and you are watching NDTV Prime.
Road safety and overall protection when you're on the road. That's something we've discussed ad nauseum for so many months and years. But safer cars for India, it's not just an idea anymore. It's something that's starting to kick in, and we are seeing it around us on the roads. We are also seeing it in terms of new products that are coming to market. And what's most exciting is that we are seeing a large thrust of that coming from the market leader, Maruti Suzuki. Let's talk more about this topic with the man who's sort of driving all of that at Maruti. That's of course Mr. C.V. Raman. Good to see you, sir.
Good to see you, Siddharth.
And this is, as you know, a topic that I have almost been obsessed with. So we've...
I know it's something which is very close to your heart. So
it is, and we've shared a lot about it over the years. So
it's
great to see where we are today in terms of everything that's starting to happen, some of the things that have already happened. Take us back and give me a sense of when it really started to matter inside Maruti as well.
Well, it started to matter to us in the early 2000s itself, when we knew that the offset and side impact norms are likely to come into India, and we as Maruti Suzuki wanted to develop our own capability. We were going through our paces at that point of time by doing minor changes or doing for the Zen, or we were doing work on the Swift, the first generation Swift, so to speak. And we wanted to develop our capability in this area also, and we started sending our engineers way back in the early 2000s to Suzuki to understand the crash facility, how it works, what are the things which are required to set it up, to understand the instrumentation, to do the calibration of the dummy, to be able to do an instrumentation of the vehicle, acquire the data, understand data, then start making judgments about it, about the data. We saw that we were having one gap in our product development capability, and that was evaluation capability. Evaluation as in doing evaluation of the full vehicle, evaluation of crash, and so on and so forth, to do the aggregates. So a lot of those gaps we felt, and for that we were continuing to do testing at Suzuki. That's number one. Number two, Maruti Suzuki is part of Suzuki Global, and it's our endeavor that how can the capability of Maruti Suzuki be developed so that we can actually support Suzuki Global in doing product development globally. So that was the intention, and we have been doing work after the Alto. We worked on the Vitara Brezza, which was predominantly done here on the Suzuki platform and engine, and the capability which our engineers were able to develop over that period of time was used by them to actually do the testing in our Rohtak facility. So that was completely the effort done locally, and what it helped is to free up capacity at Suzuki Global.
Now, you spoke about how this enhances the capability of Maruti's engineers and its facilities. Do you foresee a scenario? One is of course developing products for India. The Vitara Brezza is a prime example of that. But when you talk about global products for Suzuki that it can use in other markets, and I don't just mean from the perspective of make in India and export, but what I mean to say is develop here with a view to launch in India and maybe also make it in other markets. Suzuki might want to do that. Do you see that happening as well in the future based on this capability?
Definitely, I think this is the first step which we have taken with the Vitara Brezza to be able to follow the Suzuki Global development practice. Also, in the next 2 to 3 years, we are going to set up our Rohtak facilities. We already have invested 1900 crores in that facility. We have the proving ground. We have the crash lab already up and running. We have the other facilities for NVH, ride handling, braking, and strength and durability testing, and our quality assurance test facilities. All of that has already been set up. But there are a lot more facilities which need to be set up for us to be able to do
especially for development, right? I mean, that's the end that now needs to be beefed up.
Yeah, so we have to do a lot of development. Now, validation is one part of it, but when you do the development, you require a lot more facilities. And so those facilities are going to come up in the next 2 to 3 years. Our people are going to be able to learn that. They are currently undergoing training in Suzuki in various areas, and they will come back and do the, start using these facilities, learn it, improve it, and that's a constant process of improving.
Now, the cynical view has always been that a lot of these things could have been done by Maruti in the past as well. I mean, you were the market leader. Why, you mentioned that it was the early 2000s when you first started sending engineers, etc. Why did you have to wait for regulations necessarily, or why has it taken so long in a sense to build up all of this? Or, like I said earlier, not just transport some of it from Japan here?
Well, we have been doing that in the sense that whatever vehicles are being built out of India, the A-Star which was going to the Europe, of course, was meeting all the norms of Europe. But having said that, the regulatory requirements of India are important, and one needs to build vehicles as per the requirements. Also, you need to be able to homologate and test the vehicles. It's not just Maruti, it's the entire auto industry. They will also be able to, they also need to be doing that. And of course, for us it's important that we need to develop that capability, but that capability also takes time to develop. And for us to have developed that capability, it took us about 12 years to develop that capability. To be able to set up a crash lab and to run it and to get data out of that testing and to make sense out of it. So I think lead times are important, and relevance to the market and relevance to competition is also very, very important.
And it takes the whole industry up. That's true.
Of course, it takes the industry up. Yeah.
One of the things I must in fact point out, and I think our viewers need to know this as well, those who don't know it already, is that in a sense you didn't wait for those norms to kick in. I mean, not just in a sense. I mean, the car behind you is a proof of that. The Vitara Brezza came in 2016, which was easily more than a year and a half before the actual norms. Was that again a decision that was taken fairly early on, that you're going to start to introduce these new models which are already capable and future ready?
Yes, I think two things we did. Once the norms were notified, we have a large, we are a large volume producer, and we have a lot of products. We need to phase in our product, introduction. Also, for us, as the customer is getting educated, it was also important as a market leader to educate the customer. So from that perspective, we started, introducing variants with airbag and ABS as an option on all our lineup, on the entire lineup. So that we started offering way back in more than about 2 years back. That's one step which we did. The second step which we did was that all new products starting with the Vitara Brezza, we started homologating them. And so the Vitara Brezza was homologated for offset and side impact. And then the next model, which was the Ignis, that has now been homologated for offset, side impact, as well as the pedestrian, which is going to come in much later. And now we have, apart from these two models, we have the other 4 models, the Ciaz, the S-Cross, the Baleno, and the Ertiga, which also have been homologated for offset, side impact, and pedestrian protection. So it's a very conscious step for us. And the third thing which we had to do was to ensure that our supply chain partners are also fully aware of our intentions.